It's a Sunday morning, and it's time to talk New York Jets football and around the league with the NFL. We've got a special new piece to the puzzle, a new member of the family. We'll talk about it. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
What's going on, beautiful people? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Evie.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcasts. And today is a Sunday, and it's a special Sunday here on May 18th. It's the start of a new tradition, a tradition, like no other, perhaps. We're going to be having that here on the program moving forward with a very special guest, and we're going to introduce him right off the top. It's a good buddy of mine. We've done work together, quite frankly, in a lot of different places, but now we're going to be able to do it here every single Sunday. I'll be joined by my friend here, my NFL insider, Matt Lombardo, to keep us plugged in on the league. And he'll talk about his Substack, which there's a direct link down below that you guys can join up with between the hash marks for Matt Lombardo, which provides the very latest NFL news analysis and insight from sources across the league that you can't get anywhere else. That seems like a great place to join the army. So without further ado, let's bring him in. That is Matt Lombardo, who joined us for a live draft day coverage just a couple of weeks ago. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Paul. Thanks for having me. I'm so fired up to be here. And that draft show was a ton of fun. And it just got me thinking, how can I talk more football with my Boy Green? And so the Sunday partnership is here. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go and excited to be with you in the audience.
Well, thank you to your people for being so flexible. They're tough negotiators. You're at the table. My people, your people, a lot of, table banging, but boom, you're here, Matt. So blessed be he. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, just thinking ahead to the season, we're going to be doing this every week. So the Sunday mornings, setting the table for the Jets, setting the table for the biggest games around the league, the storylines to watch. It's going to be a ton of fun. And before then, the NFL doesn't sleep. Maybe for a week or two in June, the coaches and the players take a couple weeks off before the grind of training camp. But we're in the thick of it now, man. It's not even Memorial Day, and the NFL storylines, they keep coming hot and heavy.
There's no question about it. I'm going to flash this up here on your screen a few times during this interview, folks, but this is the QR code. Go ahead, scan that puppy and join between the hash marks NFL Substack with, again, all the latest with all kinds of wonderful action articles and so much more. Mailbags I was looking through this morning, which was a lot of fun, answering questions from across the social media landscape. Some really great stuff in there, again, between the hash marks for that. And before we get started, let's give a big tip of the cap to none other than Mother Effing Chew, gifting a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. What a great way to start off a Sunday. MFC, you're a great guy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And MFC, you now have 9 raffle tickets so far this month. We appreciate you. Thanks for joining the giveaway extravaganza. Fantastic. And that membership went to Phenom. Good to see Phenom back on the channel. So shout out to MFC for gifting. And on the Sunday morning, more than just herself. That's wonderful. So let's get into this, Matt. There's a lot to get into around the league here. First off, let's start off with Justin Fields. The Jets made a quarterback change this offseason, going from Aaron Rodgers to Justin Fields. And I don't know how you could get two more polar opposite quarterbacks from style and personality than these two. And the Jets are diving in on this train. They're taking a chance on this 26-year-old that hasn't clicked everywhere else, but they believe in their building that this can be their guy. What does the rest of the league think about the Jets' gamble on Justin Fields?
Yeah, Paul, this is really part of the Jets organizational reset, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later on. But I was told going into the legal tampering period that there was strong mutual interest between Aaron Glenn and Justin Fields. Glenn loved what he saw those first 6 weeks in Pittsburgh out of Justin Fields before he was benched, thought he fit the style of offense that he was importing to Florham Park. And Justin Fields was fired up about the chance to play for Aaron Glenn. And now, you look at Justin Fields, he kind of embodies that temperament around the NFL, former first round pick, right? That might not have lived up to all the expectations in a couple of other stops, but this coach thinks that he can fix him. But I think this is a little bit different because if the Jets are going to really lean into that two running back set, lean into that run first offense, you go ahead and you draft a tight end early in the NFL draft. You go and you have Garrett Wilson there, who they played together at Ohio State. They're fired up to be working together again. This really feels like the kind of move that, at the very least, Justin Fields is going to get those 2 years to see if he can be the Jets franchise quarterback, right? I don't think this is a 1 year bridge to Arch Manning or Drew Aller or anything like that. At 24, 25 years old, they believe they have a guy that they can try to win with. And if it doesn't work over those 2 years, you kind of hit the reset button at that point. But I don't think that they're going to be bad enough to be at the top of the board. I think the defense with Aaron Glenn's input is going to be a lot better, more consistent. And I think that Justin Fields is one of those guys where it's a low risk, moderate reward proposition. He's not a guy who's going to throw for 4,200 yards and 40 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. But if you can get that 28 to 3,000, 3,500 yard season, if you can cut down on the turnovers, which have plagued him throughout his career, you get the 18 to 22 touchdowns year one. Maybe you build on it going into year two. So this feels like, at bare minimum, it's a 2 year project to see if they can untap the first round potential that the Bears weren't able to and that the Steelers offered a glimpse of before handing the reins over to Russell Wilson.
Very tantalizing. There's no question about it. And again, of the possible options, the Jets got the one that is intriguing. Some of the other ones are older or this or that. Everyone has their own baggage, I suppose, once you reach free agency from that perspective. Before we get into potential expectations, let's get into the NFL schedule. ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter on his podcast gave the latest intel on each team as the schedule came out. And for the Jets, he said that a clear message was sent from the National Football League. They don't believe in the Jets. And he said the reason for that is the 2 primetime games on the schedule after having 6 last year, and then 13 1 o'clock games. He believes that the league sent a very clear and loud message that they don't believe in the Jets. It'll be up to the Jets to prove those doubters wrong on the schedule. Do you agree or disagree?
I hate to make this kind of impression to the viewers on the
Sure.
podcast, but why would the NFL respect the Jets at this point, right? I mean, you're talking about a new head coach. You're bringing in Justin Fields, who I happen to like and think that there's some juice there that you can still get out of Justin Fields. But we're not talking about a Trevor Lawrence type of arrival as a generational prospect, first round pick with all the intrigue. We're not talking about a team that's loaded up with the kind of talent to make a Super Bowl run this year. We're talking about a 5-12 team with a new regime coming in where this feels like this is the fool me 3 times with the Jets, right? Because 2 years ago it was Aaron Rodgers' arrival, and you're opening with the pomp and circumstance of Monday Night Football, the Bills in town, the building's going nuts. It's like the 1980s in there with the JETS, 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 Jets chants echoing, reverberating all through East Rutherford. Obviously, we know what happened 4 plays into that season. Last year, Aaron Rodgers comes back healthy. There are still these Super Bowl delusions in everybody's head that the Jets are going to, with Aaron Rodgers, who hadn't been Aaron Rodgers since about 2021, was going to lead them to the promised land, to the Super Bowl. And I think that this was when Roger Goodell, the schedule maker, said, "You fooled us twice. You ain't fooling us 3 times." But what I do like about the Jets schedule is they open up with back-to-back home games, and they're home for 5 of the first 7 weeks. So you talk about not getting on an airplane early in Aaron Glenn's tenure as head coach. You can kind of get into some sort of a rhythm, set the stage for the rest of the year. The opener's a massive game, obviously. There are a couple playoff tests within that. But I think the fact that you get to kind of set the stage at home is going to do them some favors early on.
Yeah, the first 3 games are against playoff teams, 4 of the first 6 against playoff teams as well. And to your point on travel, the Jets sit about middle of the league in terms of their travel miles, and most of them are eaten up by the London trip. That's the only part that, if you take that away, the Jets would be one of the most least traveled teams in the league, which normally gives advantages because coaches don't seem to like that, historically speaking. Now, let's get to this, okay? So Aaron Glenn mentioned earlier in the offseason, we didn't know what it meant at the time, but he said, youth movement, youth movement, youth movement. We're like, okay, you're going to add a couple of young guys. That makes sense. But good Lord, anyone over the age of 30 has had to keep their head on a swivel because anything could happen. The last week is a great microcosm. They cut 39-year-old Thomas Morstead, or the punter that Jet fans really rallied around. They with all the inconsistencies at punter, once Thomas Morstead arrived and showed some consistency, we've built Thomas Morstead statues here in the streets. And then Greg Zuerlein, the 37-year-old former Pro Bowl kicker, they cut this week as well. And now only 3 players, 30 years of age or older, remain on this roster. That is Tyrod Taylor, the backup quarterback at 35. Veteran receiver Josh Reynolds is 30. And then our long snapper, salute to the longest tenured player on the team, Thomas Hennessy is also 30. So Aaron Glenn has meant this youth movement thing. And I want to ask you this, if I'm just going to lay the brass tacks down. I haven't said this anywhere else, but you know what? Now's a better time than any. Is Aaron Glenn just a cheap ass and he just wants some youth? And the youth is, well, I just saved $2.5 million on Thomas Morstead. I signed some random undrafted free agent for $400,000. Boom. I just saved $2 million. Is it more about the cheapness than the message of youth and development? Or maybe are those two things just, they go hand in hand?
Yeah, I think, Paul, it comes down to you have to look at what worked in Detroit, right? How did the Detroit Lions go from being the laughing stock in the NFC North to knocking on the doorstep of the Super Bowl the last couple of years? It's homegrown talent. It's guys that they drafted. It's hitting the reset button and getting young outside of the quarterback and Jared Goff, of course. But I think what's really happening here is maybe Woody Johnson took a step back and maybe realized that the last 2 years that they had bought into fool's gold, that they thought they were closer than they actually thought that they were. And they really weren't the quarterback away. They really weren't the Aaron Rodgers away from representing the AFC in the Super Bowl and kind of, putting the conference on its ear. What I do like about what the Jets are doing is I love what they did in the draft. You get Membo early. You get Mason Taylor. You think about when Justin Fields has been most successful. Cole Kmet, great pass catching tight end. Pat Fryermuth, borderline elite pass catching tight end. They have high hopes for Mason Taylor. They think that he can be a guy that is a legitimate weapon in that offense. And if you're looking to get young, if you're looking to hit the reset button and you're going to allow your head coach that 3 to 4 year window, that 2 to 3 to 4 year draft class, stacking draft classes together to build a contender, why have a slew of veterans around? Unless they're guys that he coached in Detroit and you're trying to, interpret and coach the system with the players on the field. I just don't see a lot of upside to them bringing in veterans. I think this is the right way to go about it. They were a 5-12 team a year ago with Aaron Rodgers, with all of the turmoil around them, with all the injuries on defense, with the defense being asked to do way more than they were built to do. I had a high-ranking Jets executive tell me last year that the reason the defense came off the rails was because it was built to protect leads. That the philosophy was Aaron Rodgers in the offense would jump out to a 17-3 lead. They'd pin their ears back and, they would protect the lead. They'd seal the win, those sort of things. When you're having to play from behind, when you're getting lit up, when you're not getting help from your offense, it changes the mentality of how you call a defense. It changes the mentality of how you coach and how aggressive you are and those sort of things. They weren't built for that. So I think that you strip it down, you get young players in Aaron Glenn's vision, in his philosophy, and you reset here and you try to build because, listen, outside of the Buffalo Bills and maybe the New England Patriots making some strides with a lot of really nice pieces around Drake May, I think the Dolphins are kind of coming back down to earth pretty quickly in the division. In a year or two, with another great draft class, signing another round of free agents, the Jets might be in that conversation of, okay, can we steal a game from the Bills? Can we sweep the Bills? Can we climb the ladder and become a wild card team in the AFC? But I just don't get the sense that continuity was the way to go, bringing in Aaron Glenn.
I heard you there, Matt Lombardo. You're very sneaky. You've been an NFL insider for a long time. And when you said Pat Fryermuth, borderline elite guy, you're a Penn State guy. I saw what you did there. Hashtag we are. I saw that, Matt Lombardo. I saw you do that. That's okay. Game respects game. That's the only reason I wanted to point that out. Game respects game. Very nice, sir. Hey, Olu Fashnu, thank you very much. Kyle Brady, not thank you very much. So it's been sort of a balanced diet over the last 30 years, but, I try to hold nothing against you. Again, we have Matt Lombardo here, our NFL insider between the hash marks. Again, if you go down into the YouTube description down below, there's a direct link to Matt Lombardo's Substack that you guys can subscribe to right bleeping now. Feel free to do so for all the latest news, NFL analysis, and insight insights coming up here. Make sure you guys do. And also, or just do it with all the technology, better. Boom, QR code. It could come at any time. You got to be ready for it. It's like a wild Pokemon that eventually you got to catch. Make sure you're on the ready. You're on the loose. There you go. The QR code on your screen. Like I said, direct links down below. Let's get into the rest of the National Football League, Matt, because you have some interesting nuggets, some interesting stories. One of the most interesting this offseason is the curious case of Trey Hendrickson, a guy who led the league in sacks last year, obviously very talented, and the Bengals, speaking of cheap, this organization is historically cheap and very particular about how they do their contracts, and Trey Hendrickson seems upset. What's the latest here, Matt Lombardo, on what you're hearing with Trey Hendrickson, and quite frankly, where we go from here?
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it, Paul? You look at a defense that was the reason Cincinnati didn't make the postseason a year ago, and they go into this offseason a year removed from Joe Burrow signing his mega deal as one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. So you're not going to be having to worry about signing your quarterback to a record-setting deal. You sign Jamar Chase, you sign T. Higgins, great moves. It's how they win. It's what they do. It's what Joe Burrow needs. They both set records with new benchmarks as the highest paid receiver and highest paid number 2 wide receiver. But their best defensive player, a first-team All-Pro, 17 and a half sacks each of the past 2 seasons, can't get a FaceTime with Zach Taylor? Can't get a text message from Duke Tobin, and members of the organization kind of passive-aggressively send messages through the media throughout the offseason. Well, Hendrickson should be happy to be here, and he has 1 year remaining on his deal, right? So there's still some leverage the Bengals have that they can put the franchise tag on him at the end of this year, and they can keep him for another year. But Hendrickson shows up at OTAs, right? In street clothes, kind of like you and I. He's got had the baseball hat on. His teammates are running on the field for practice. He walks over the media and says, I am done. I am not playing on this deal. I am out. They're not returning phone calls. They told me if I hold out, I'll get fined, on and on and on. Paul, make sense of this for me. The Bengals have $27 million in cap space this year, the ninth most amount of cap space next year, and upwards of $200 million in cap space in 2027. But 30-year-old Trey Hendrickson can't get a phone call. None of this is making sense to me. So I asked an agent around the league. I said, if you were advising him, what would you do? And he said, this is in the column tomorrow on Monday morning at Between the Hash Marks. He said, we're not playing until week 11. If he's my client, we're sitting out. We're not playing until week 11. A second agent tells me the going rate is $40 million. If we can get close to $40 million a year, we're signing. Now, Paul, you think about this, right? It's their best player on a defense that was historically bad a year ago, kept them from the postseason, even though Joe Burrow and the offense dragged them to 5 straight wins last year. It really feels like, doesn't it, that this is one of those standoffs where either Hendrickson blinks and he comes in and he plays, or he doesn't, and maybe the Bengals get serious about trading him. But they bungled that too because they didn't trade him during the draft. So now you're talking about maybe selling for pennies on the dollar because teams know that he's not happy. He's not playing. They know that they can get him for a song. You mentioned cheap. This really feels like a franchise going cheap with one of their most important players.
2 things here. First off, Jet fans probably have PTSD anytime you talk about a talented pass rusher potentially holding out after Hassan Reddick last year. Yeah. Sorry. Put that aside. Number 2, when you talk about this Trey Hendrickson situation, what could potentially happen, right? That if a trade happens now, let's just all be incredibly honest here. The Bengals are likely going to get worse. They're unlikely here, May plus, to find a player of equal value or talent to Trey Hendrickson at a position of need in some sort of rare player-for-player swap plus picks. That's unlikely to happen, which means if they do move Trey Hendrickson anywhere from now to the season, they got worse. And specifically to your point, you're right, the defense got worse, which is the part they were supposed to be improving. That doesn't make any sense, which takes us back, interestingly, to Jamal Adams for the New York Jets, who this week is, making a plea to join the team. And it harkens me back to when he got moved because the Jets did the same thing the Bengals could potentially do here. They were sort of choppy on whether to pay him or not pay him. Eventually they did days before training camp, and he was coming off a first-team All-Pro season. So obviously that Jets team that jettisoned Jamal Adams got worse They ended up being 2-14 that season, as a matter of fact. So maybe they had a sense of what was about to happen or not. Adam Gase ended up getting fired for that particular season, but they got worse. Bengals perhaps in a much different position, but despite the wins they had last year, because they have Joe Burrow and we have strong beliefs in what they could potentially do. But that's it. That sweet spot of if you were going to trade him, if you traded him before the draft, that you could have gotten more. And that's what I heard, that there was apparently, according to NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero, there was a 2+ on the table in terms of trade for Trey Hendrickson ahead of the draft. The Bengals said, it's only for a first. And then the trades went nowhere. The other thing is, and who cares, because Trey Hendrickson is already angry at the Bengals, so he probably doesn't care about this. But Pelissero said the Bengals front office was not very happy with Hendrickson's personal press conference happening in the middle of practice. Apparently that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way inside the building. So it doesn't sound like that's going to get cleaned up anytime soon. But hey, the Myles Garrett thing, when he had all his troubles and said this relationship cannot be fixed, it can't be repaired, and then $40 million, oh, okay, it's fixed, I'm in. So I guess that just goes to show us that money can solve any situation.
Yeah, and the Bengals have the cap space to do this, which is why none of it makes a lot of sense to me. But you talk about what could happen next. So there's parallels to Chris Jones, who held out from the Kansas City Chiefs. They lose the opener to the Lions. Oh, 4 days later, they rework his deal, give him a raise. He's back in the building, sign him to an extension a year or two later. But if they trade him, you start thinking about teams with cap space, with needs that are close. And I think there are 3 teams that can really make a play here.
Lay 'em on me.
Watch out for the Eagles, because Howie Roseman has never met a blockbuster trade that he hasn't tried to make. The Detroit Lions desperately need a pass rusher opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. That defense could really use a number 2, a running mate for an all-pro caliber pass rusher in his own right. And the Washington Commanders. Cap space and a front office that understands the assignment. I mean, you look at you did taking Jaden Daniels last year. You see what he brought in as a rookie. You go get Laramie Tunsil to protect him. You go get Deebo Samuel to pair with Terry McLaurin. All of a sudden, you have a dynamic offense. You have an offensive line that's getting better with a quarterback on his rookie deal. Go and get Trey Hendrickson and drop him in that front 7. When you got to deal with Jalen Hurts, you got to deal with Dak Prescott, you got to deal with, getting through San Francisco and Detroit and maybe the Bears and the Packers and all these teams. The Commanders could be a sneaky team to watch here if the Bengals, in fact, open up for business to trade Trey Hendrickson.
Matt, what's your official prediction on how this plays out? This is a wild situation, so it's hard to get the finger on the pulse here. But what does happen here in this very awkward staring contest for Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals? Does he get traded? Does he get forced to play out on this year's contract? Do they work out a long-term deal? What's the truth? What's going to happen here?
Yeah, I think that you look at their schedule and it's about week 4. I think it's week 4 or week 5. They play the Broncos, and it's their first game against a playoff caliber team. If they're rolling along and they get smoked by Bo Nix and he goes off and the pass rush doesn't do anything, I think that if this hasn't worked out before then, I think then you get the financial apology from the Bengals. You work it out for a year, and then you revisit this thing in the offseason.
Okay, interesting. Well, I'll tell you one game the Bengals certainly have circled on the schedule is the Week 8 game against the Jets. Certainly where Justin Fields is going to be coming to town to Cincinnati. So, hey, just trying to give you guys a spoiler alert ahead of time. A couple other things before we get you out of here, Matt Lombardo. Matthew Golden, and I'm sorry to bring that up because I know we've got a viewer of the show, Hep, who really enjoys the show, who wanted the Jets to draft Matthew Golden very badly. It did not happen. And the Packers making history, taking a first-round receiver for the first time forever. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers totally took that in stride, very civilly. I bet he did. What's a fit here? Matthew Golden, Green Bay Packers. They finally take a first-round receiver. They seem to have a lot of receivers in that room.
They do. It's a young group, but really took a step back last year. You have Christian Watson, who might not be available, but likely not available because of the knee injury he suffered in week 18 a year ago. Really inconsistent group. Even Josh Jacobs goes down to the Super Bowl and says, we need a number 1 wide receiver. This is a franchise that led the league in explosive plays a year ago with 38 of them. They go and they get Matthew Golden, who ran a 4.29 40. I spoke to an NFL offensive coach before the draft who said he's more more speed than talent at this point. But if you can develop him and refine him, he can be an elite weapon. And I spoke to an executive for the column on Friday that comes out tomorrow morning at Between the Hash Marks, and he told me this is all about going deep. It's all about the offense getting vertical. So you think about a team with that much explosiveness, largely because of Tucker Kraft and the big runs by Josh Jacobs a year ago, but you drop Matthew Golden into a receiving core with Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed. You got some nice pieces there for a franchise that rightfully thinks they're on the cusp of, competing for a Super Bowl in the NFC. And I love the pick. I love the fit. And it just feels like the Packers are about to go boom in the NFC North.
That certainly would check based on their talent and everything that they've been able to do. Just real quick aside, because you're bringing up the wide receiver room, which again feels very crowded with Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson. They drafted Savion Williams as well to add to that room. They have Dontavian Wicks. They signed veteran Mecole Hardman, who Jet fans obviously hold in very high regard, obviously. So is there any wiggle room with this receiver room? Are they keeping all these guys? Could they trade one of them? I heard some rumors about perhaps, maybe Dubs shaken free. Is there any truth to that?
Could be. I think that he's in that mix with Jaden Reed to be the number one receiver coming out of training camp. But Daubs, I think, is the guy with the most trade value out of that group. So if a team overwhelms them, I could see them making that move. But I don't know that you take a piece away from a position group that you're trying to get better with a guy who's a homegrown talent, has shown you that he can be at least a number two receiver in a lot of rooms. But if teams come knocking, he'd certainly be an interesting trade chip.
Fair enough. We got a couple hundred people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We have NFL insider Matt Lombardo here. Again, you can subscribe to his Substack in the YouTube description down below. There's a direct link, or like I said, you can always hit up the QR code here on your screen. Booyah! Feel free, baby, for Between the Hash Marks and all kinds of wonderful NFL news, analysis, and insight from sources across the league that you can't get anywhere else. Sounds like a pretty good place to be. So rub the genie lamp and make your wish, baby. Make it come true. Let's wrap up here, Matt. There's a lot of, and this is a little unusual to have this many big topic matters for this other owners meeting coming up here in May. A lot of that normally gets handled a couple months ago, which we saw at the annual league meetings. So to still have a lot of sizable, impactful, needle-moving stuff is a surprise. Let's start off with this. The always popular tush push. What's happening here? Is this about to get banned, or is some reworking of the language? What's the latest here on the tush push?
Yeah, this is Roger Goodell's personal crusade of the offseason to get rid of the tush push. I'm told that the league wants this done. They want it voted out. They want it banned. Not clear from my own reporting with people inside the league on whether this is actually going to get voted down. Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated had a report that it's the same proposal, the same language that's unchanged from the Packers proposal, excuse me, back in March. It's just another round of voting, another round of conversation, but it feels like the tush push is on borrowed time. Interesting they didn't get this done the first time around, but Paul, what's interesting too, that when you talk about how effective this play really is, did a deep dive on the numbers. The Eagles convert on about 81% of the tush push attempts, but they only didn't convert on 9 tush pushes all last year. They converted on the next play, running it again, 8 of 9 times. So obviously it's effective for Philadelphia. It's 87% effective if you combine the percentages and the attempts for the Bills and the Eagles. But the quarterback sneak has an 82.1% success rate across the NFL. So when you talk about just numbers, play versus play, I do wonder if the Eagles won't just swap out, if this gets banned, running the QB sneak more often, and if there isn't some sort of secret sauce in offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland's office for Cam Jurgens and Jalen Hurts as far as his leverage getting low, however they block this thing up, that maybe the push element isn't as impactful as the skill set and the muscular structure of Jalen Hurts and Cam Jurgens to get this done. But I do think if it gets banned, I don't think the Eagles are going to suddenly be running fullback dives on 4th and 1.
Okay, there you have it. And one other big rule proposal that is coming, and this is something I've debated with. Shout out to FL Phil 98, one of our viewers here on the show. We've gone back and forth on this. I really love the divisions that when you win your division, there's of course a playoff berth and an automatic home game. Like you, in my opinion, you've earned your way in. And every year there's ebbs and flows. Some years, like we saw the NFC West 15 years ago, where a 7-win Seattle team makes it in, and they played the defending Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints beastquake mode later. They end up winning it. In some divisions, you win at 7 wins. Some divisions last year, the Vikings Lions, where you're trading blows, and one is a 15-win team that's a number one seed, and another one's a 14-win team. That's sorry, pal. That's how it works. To me, I respect the ebbs and flows because every year is different. However, there's a lot of people that saw that Vikings Lions thing last year and say, "Hey, man, that's unbelievable. If you have those many wins, we should restack the board NBA style and have it going up." So long story short, this is another one of the big rule proposals apparently that is going to be voted on. What's the latest you're hearing on this? Is there movement for this? Because this would be a dramatic change to the playoff structure.
Dramatic change. And which side of the you're on the side of the division winners getting the home game, right?
100%. I'm basically keeping it as it is. It's real nice. Let's keep it as is. But like I said, I've been in some debate with some fans that feel like this change should happen.
I'm going the other way here because I look at
Ooh.
not only the de facto NFC North Championship game in Week 18 last year between the Lions and Vikings, that it came down to that game, but how many games on that final Sunday of the year are we watching second and third string players and second string quarterbacks because they're sitting their starters, because their seeds are locked up? I want the ebbs and flows of Week 17 and Week 18 where these games matter, where you're jockeying for playoff position going into that final week of the year. If you want the bye, go win the number one seed. You want the guaranteed home game, go win the number one seed. I think that adding competitive games, it's kind of like the college football playoff when it expanded from 4 teams to 12. All of a sudden, you have more meaningful games in November on campuses across the country. You're going to have more meaningful and impactful Week 17 and Week 18 games. And I've never felt right about a 7-9 NFC South champion hosting a 11-4 wild card team. That never sat well with me. So you get your hat, you get your T-shirt, but if you are a sub 500 team, sorry, you're hitting the road.
Okay, I love it, and I love the passion, and that's a good point. I didn't think about the ripple effects of what late season games would be because of your division protection. You don't have to worry about the NFC East, North, South, West, whatever. Because of how it's currently constructed, but you would because you could get got by someone else that you weren't currently keeping an eye on. That's fascinating. All right, well, we'll see what happens with these rule changes. And everybody, again, Matt said this at the beginning, but we'll be doing this every Sunday moving forward, getting the latest scoop ski potato here from our NFL insider extraordinaire, Matt Lombardo. And Matt, before we get out of here, please provide all your plugs for your Substack and what you bring to the table. And obviously, it's quite popular. A lot of people have jumped on the train, but there's always room for more.
Oh, Paul, so fired up, and thank you again for the opportunity to promote it and talk about it and come here and talk football with you and the fine people of the Boy Green Daily Show. It's between the hash marks on Substack. Each Monday, we have the 4 Downs column. Think of what Peter King used to do with Monday Morning Quarterback and Football Across America. The biggest storylines with insight from executive coaches, agents, sources across the league. Each Friday, we have the mailbag where people can ask me questions, and I'll reach out to those sources and get answers straight from the people inside the league making the decisions. Between the Hash Marks podcast every other Tuesday in the off season, every Tuesday in season, and really appreciate everybody who wants to check it out and become a subscriber. But if you do subscribe and pick an annual, yearly paid subscription, a portion of all proceeds get donated to either the ACLU, Show Up for Racial Justice, Women's Way, the Trevor Project, or the Matthew Shepard Foundation, really trying to leverage the work and the platform to help some of the most vulnerable among us. So we're doing some good while hopefully doing some good reporting, but certainly excited about the project, the interest, and hope to see everybody there and jumping in the chat for the mailbags every week.
Well, I can't wait, Matt. That's beautiful that you're choosing to do that with those yearly memberships. That's a really cool way to give back, and I'm looking forward to this every week. This is going to be a lot of fun, obviously during the off season, but especially once we get into the season 2, that's going to be some special stuff. Matt, thanks for joining.
Appreciate you, Paul. Thanks for having me. Talk to you next.
There he is. NFL insider Matt Lombardo, baby. He'll be joining us every Sunday here on the show, a new part of the family. It's great to have him. We'll open up the phone lines. Boy Green Daily will continue. Matt Lombardo, for every week, will be joining us for the first half of these shows. If you have questions for Matt in the future, you guys can super chat those in, and we'll answer them during the first 30 minutes of the show, because Matt's a busy NFL insider. He's jumping around doing other stuff. So, but you guys can feel free to send those in the future, and we'll get them. I've known Matt for a long time. We've worked together at a lot of different outlets. And I guess that's sort of destiny speaking, that no matter where we were, we run into each other. We just said, hey, maybe we should just work together. And boom, here we are. Boom, baby. Matt Lombardo, our NFL insider extraordinaire. All right, let's open up the phone lines next. We'll answer your phone calls and so much more. We got 400 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby. Join the growing Boy Green Army. The pinned comment right now is how you can join the Boy Green Coffee Club, our YouTube membership group, but that's about to go away because you're about to open up the phone line. So you can hit up the YouTube description down below. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club. Let's flip the ticker. There you go. Our leader in the clubhouse for the month of May is J-Boy with 140 raffle tickets, for Lillian Big D with 65, A-Step 10 with 48, Indy Jets with 42, and Dre Correa with 30. And shout out to MFC earlier for gifting a membership and jumping on that train. Here, by the way, is what you guys are competing for. Let's show this up on the screen. A commemorative New York Jets game coin from last season. It will come with, when you get it, a certificate of authenticity from the National Football League. This is the real deal, people. I have it right behind me, as a matter of fact, with the Jets logo on it. It looks awesome. You also have a full-size NFL signature football, baby, signed by the entire team last year. If you want it, Aaron Rodgers is on there, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, and so many more. That also comes with the updated New York Jets logos as well. Both of those will go to one lucky winner on June 1st. If you want a chance to win both of those prizes, say, hey, man, that seems pretty cool. Just spend $2.99 on the channel at any point during the month of May. For instance, I see that B-Mac has returned from his bounty. He has returned. He's back. Here in the chat, I see him. Where is he? Yeah, there's B-Mac right there. He says, look, I'm back. Right, someone paid a bounty, and he was sent to the coffee grinder for the last 24 hours, but he's back. If B-Mac would like to stay even longer, he says he's seeking a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. He said someone get him one. Well, he could get one himself down in the YouTube description down below. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club here. Click that, and you can become a member for just $2.99. Perhaps you will receive a membership. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the money sign. The final option says gift channel memberships. You can gift as many as you'd like. There are no limit on raffle tickets. And, of course, you can send in your super chats, questions, or comments. All of that is all available as well. So we'll see how long BMAC lasts this time around. More to come. All right, let's hit the phone lines. A quick hep song. We got more coming up here on Boy Green Daily.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Let's go.
Boy Green Daily is back, baby, here on a beautiful Sunday, May 18th. OTA start this week for the New York Jets. We'll have plenty of content coming up here on the program. By the way, speaking of the NBA, not that I spoke of the NBA, just sort of made a made-up transition there, but we got a Game 7 of NBA playoff basketball that'll be coming up today between the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's at 3:30 on ABC. The winner of that game plays the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals on the other side of the bracket. Obviously, on the eastern side of the bracket, we have the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks, baby. All right, let's go to a super chat that just hit us. Shout out to our boy A-Step 10, baby. We love to see it here on the program. Whoop, it disappeared. Here we go. Now it's back. A-Step 10 with the YouTube super chat. Every time we get one of those, we hear from my daughters, Ryla.
Wow.
Sup, BG in the Coffee Club. I'm feeling a wild card spot next season. Is it official? The Dallas game? Can't wait. Jets, LFG. Lot to unpack here. First off, A-Step 10. Hello. Salute. Good to see you. Feeling a wild card spot next season. Hey, man, here's the facts. Jack. Actually, your name's Arthur, but you get my point. We got 32 teams in the National Football League. In the AFC, there's 16. In the NFC, there's 16, okay? So you split right down the middle. 16-16. And on each side, 7 teams make the playoffs. 7. So about 42% of the teams make the playoffs in each respective league. So it's essentially 50-50. I'm doing a generous rounding up. But you have a chance. There are teams that go from worst to first all the time. There are all kinds of windows of opportunity available to make it happen. So you're feeling a wild card spot. Ultimately, comes down to this. We talked about Matt Lombardo earlier. How do you feel about Justin Fields? If you feel terrible, well, the wild card spot seems like a long shot. If you feel great, then he's great. Boom. It's a quarterback-driven league. If Justin Fields looks awesome, the rest of his team and the coaching that will likely be improved here is going to stock up. So really, it's a quarterback question. But again, if Fields is not good, the Jets are not making the playoffs. If Fields is great, the Jets are making the playoffs. If Fields is okay, it's going to be a coin flip. They'll probably be in that 7-10, 8-9, 9-8 range if he's a mid quarterback. That's the answer to the question. So you're feeling a wild card spot next season. I don't think that's crazy. Now, if you said you were feeling a Super Bowl spot, we'd have to go, okay, well, we have to see it. I'm not going to shut down anything because anything's, of course, always possible. But yeah, I think wild card can be on the table. Hey, Devin, a.k.a. DNY for Life, said 12-win floor for the Jets. That's the most wins they've ever had in a season. So if that's their floor, great. I hope Devin's right. That'd be awesome. Us fans deserve a season like that. Now, we asked, is it official, the Dallas game? And what the question Aced Up 10 is asking is about our Boy Green tailgate extravaganza, which, by the way, a sign-up sheet is in our Google Doc in the YouTube description down below. It's as official can get, Aced Up 10. We're at 99.9%. I spoke with the Jets a couple of days ago, and our 3 preferences will be different parts of the Cowboys Stadium, or Jet Stadium for the Jets-Cowboys game, excuse me. So long story short, it's pretty official. I will get that locked in next week. I should know ticket prices, which obviously I'll be able to immediately reach out to all you guys that signed up so you guys know how much things are going to be. So that should be coming at the middle to late part of, I say next week. It's technically this week. It's in days. I should know somewhere within the next 5 or 6 days, the official stuff from the New York Jets as they're setting it up for all their group pricing. So yes, it looks like it's going to be Jets, Dallas Cowboys, week 5. I believe that's October 5th. And so, guys, if that helps you, again, we still don't know pricing yet. I'm waiting on the Jets for that, so I'm not trying to hold up any longer than you guys need, but that's true. It looks like it's going to be Jets Cowboys, week 5. I hope I can meet a lot of you guys. If you have any interest in going to that game, what I'm about to ask you to do does not officially lock you in, but it puts you on the list to be reached out to. If you have any interest in going to this Jets Cowboys game that I will be hosting, I'll be hosting the game. We'll sit together. And also we'll be tailgating together. If you want a part of that experience, make sure you hit up the Google Doc sheet in the YouTube description down below. Say, yes, I'm interested. I need 2 or 3 Jets tickets. I need 2 or 3 tailgate tickets. Here's my email. When you know more information, boom, hit me up here and I will. Everyone on the list has an email listed, and I will reach out to you as soon as I get the information, and I'm going to go boom, 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 boom to all 50, 60 plus of you. I'm going to let you know, hey, guys, here's the Jets, what they said. Here's the price of this. Here's the price of this. Are you in or out? They say in, we collect all that information. They say they're out. Okay, no worries. God bless. We'll see you next time. So that's how it will work. So yes, it is as official gets, Aced Up 10. That is true. But thank you so much for the super chat, baby. Appreciate you. You just got yourself 3 raffle tickets. 3 more to our contest. You are now at 51 raffle tickets so far this month. Arthur. Let's add that to your pile here on the big board here, and I believe that still keeps you in third place, and it does. 51 raffle tickets, you're in third place, Aced Up 10. But thank you so much for the YouTube super chat. I appreciate you. Yes. So yeah, let's speak wildcard into existence. That would be amazing. So appreciate it. Aced Up 10, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. And again, more details to come. More details to come on the schedule. Let's go back to the phone lines. Scotty joins us here on the program. Scotty, good morning.
Boy Green, your show is so good. The people you bring on are so insightful. That's why I love your show. But more so, it's your personality and your positivism. You bring such great energy to the Jets. And that's why anytime, I hear from my friend Alon, or when Neil gets into the darkness mode, I can't do that anymore. I'm just going to call him out. But your energy, look, we got to see what our coaching staff's going to do, but sure, I am all in I am all in. So thank you for the light that you bring. Now, basketball? Are we talking basketball? Game 7? Let me tell you about a bet that I have with my friend Boy Green. I want
Yeah,
to add
sure.
to my bet. I want to
Add.
include
Oh,
I want to
okay.
I want to include Hop on Pop in this bet. So I'm going to throw
Oh,
this out
baby.
to you. All you
Okay.
have to do is speak to Pop. Pop's
Okay.
got to verbalize that he's in on this.
Of
And
course.
let
Right.
me add to our bet. First, why don't you
Okay.
tell the listeners what our additional bet is above Chef Kevin? Tell him what
Yeah,
Chef
right.
Kevin's bet
Yeah,
is and
sure.
what our bet is.
Yeah, so Chef Kevin Gilbert, diehard Knicks fan, and me, who is the Celtics fan. When the Celtics were down 3-1, Chef Kev said, "Hey, Boy Green, let's do a friendly bet. No money." And I love that. I prefer when we do bets beyond money because money's just money. And Chef Kev said, if the Knicks end up winning this series, Paul Boy Green Eston, you can't wear Celtics gear on Boy Green Daily for the next calendar year. So that was, by the way, 17 to 17. So basically, a year from today, May 18, 2026, is the next first available time that I'll ever be able to wear it on this program. So that happened, of course, the Knicks 1-6, and thus that bet was checked off the bucket list. However, there was an additional bet with Scotty that if the Knicks end up winning the championship, for the first time since 1973, it's 73, which included obviously the Celtics series that was still undecided, the Eastern Conference Finals, which we'll see what happens, and then the NBA championship, whoever is there. That jersey that Scotty is flashing on the screen, he will ship to me, and then at any point that he says the magic word, which could be Beetlejuice 3 times, I will have to put on that jersey no matter what is going on. Yeah, I'm sure he'll call into the show or say it in the comments if I can see it. He'll probably have to super chat or something so it pops up. But whatever happens, whenever he says that, where I will have it in a special case or place over here, and I will put it on, no matter what's going on, and that will happen. So yes, that is the bet as it is. But it sounds like there is an amendment to the bet to be made. What is it? What do we got?
Well, I'm going to propose an amendment, and just so
Okay.
you know, so there's no surprise, so you have the
Yeah.
shirt with you.
Okay.
At the tailgate, you
Yeah.
need to wear that shirt. You can wear any kind of jet hat that you want, but that shirt
Okay.
has to be on the outside, and
Okay.
everybody's going to see that shirt. All our Knicks fans in Jet Nation are going to be sitting next to the biggest Celtic fan wearing that throwback jersey. So we're good on that.
Okay.
You know, that's the first time you're going to be wearing that.
Oh, the first time will be then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna torture you, Boy Green. You're my friend. I don't want to torture you.
I know, but I can't believe it. So, like, let's say, right, it's going to be Jets Cowboys October 5th. Let's say the Knicks win the championship in June. You're going to be able to successfully wait July, August. You're going to successfully wait
Well,
3+ months before you even get
listen,
to have it wear
I
once.
can't
Wow.
say 100%, but that's going to be an all kind of day thing where
I
you're going to
see.
be wearing
I
that shirt.
understand.
You may
Yeah.
be on a show and we might have, a huge Knick fan like Jake Asman or somebody on your
Yeah.
show, and
Oh, yeah.
Jake's a huge Knick fan.
I
So I
do.
may just
Yes.
say, Boy Green, put the shirt on. Put the shirt on so everybody can see how much you care. Now, you did say you're going to be rooting for my Knicks throughout. I love
I
that.
did. I am. Even with the bets withstanding, I didn't think about that when I said it. But yes, no matter what,
Okay.
yes, the Knicks to me. And while I know Indy Jets called in and said no, I should be rooting for the Pacers. I will be rooting for the Knicks. My radio partner is a diehard Knicks fan. He was a season ticket holder for 7 years. You guys haven't had this in a long time, so no doubt about it. I will be out of the Denver, OKC, Minnesota, Indiana, or New York. Come on, man. How can I not support the home
And
dogs despite what they did?
that's why Jet Nation loves you, because notwithstanding the fact that you had that heinous green outfit that you were wearing, you deep down, you love New York, you love your fans, you want the best for them. And
Sure.
that's why I support you. That's why you truly are a friend, and you will always be a
Thanks,
friend.
man.
So let
I
me
appreciate
throw
that.
out. I want
Oh,
to
yeah,
throw
go
out
ahead.
a. I
Let's hear it.
want to throw out a bet.
Okay.
First of all, we have to design a 0.0 shirt, like you and me. Okay, so part of this
Okay.
is you agreeing that you're going to add a 0.0 that the fans truly want, not a
Yeah.
0.0 that the fans don't want. So
Okay.
I want to design a shirt with you that
Sure.
is a 0.0 that you will have underneath this jersey. So you wear it, I'll be
Okay.
wearing it that day,
Right.
and Pop will be wearing it. And if Pop agrees, I have another 50 spot for you. No problem. As long as
Okay.
it's based on the Knicks winning the championship. If they
Yeah.
don't, It was a fun bet, but nothing
Sure.
happened. But if the Knicks
Okay.
win the championship, I will. If Pop agrees, I'm just sending you $50. If Pop agrees to the bet, you got the
Wow.
$50.
Okay.
But then
Okay.
there's another 50. As long as Pop's willing to wear the specially designed 0.0 shirt that you and I will co-create, I will send another $50. So,
Okay.
Pop just agrees on the bet,
Okay.
which is we're going to design a special shirt, and Pop at the Dallas Jet game with you, me, and Pop wearing the 0.0. Pop on the outside, you on the inside, because it might
Yeah.
be cold, Boy Green. I don't know what the
Sure. I
weather's
guess.
like.
October 5th. It
Pop's
shouldn't be
just
too
gotta-
cold, but relatively, I guess. So, okay.
Pop just has to agree, part A, $50, because I love
Okay.
your show, and I will send that to you by Zelle,
I
like I
appreciate
did.
that.
As soon
Yeah.
as Pop announces that he accepts that, if the Knicks
Okay.
win the championship, he wears that co-designed shirt.
All
And
right.
then another 50 spot that day of. But here's the thing, Boy Green. I want
right.
to meet you in person, and I want to be there when Pop has that shirt on. So I am going to fly out. I'm going to make arrangements to come out, put
Awesome.
me down on your list, maybe
Oh,
with a
okay.
guest, maybe not, but put me down. If the Knicks
right.
win the championship, I
Yeah.
hope Alon is there, because that will be my happiest day.
Oh,
Having
sure.
to see Alon, who can't come on camera for some reason because he's in
Yeah, I don't know.
analytics. I
Still don't
don't.
understand that.
I will fly. So in addition to having the shirt and getting the
Yeah.
50 spot and having Pop wearing that shirt, I will
Yeah.
fly out and I will be there for the tailgate because I want some
Wow.
ziti. I want some easy ziti.
That's going to be there. So salute
It's
to
an
Chef
epic
Kevin
bet.
Gilbert.
It's an epic
Yeah,
bet.
it is. So, Scotty, do me a favor. Once you get off here, just jump over to your phone or computer or whatever you have by and email me. Because for this Jet sign-up sheet, I just need your first,
will.
last name, and a bunch of particular details
You
on
got
it,
it.
and I will fill it out on the sheet. And then also any notes for the 0.0% shirt, so we can work on it together. So it looks exactly how you want.
I want to talk to you about that. I want to have
Great.
a little special surprise for Pop, which I want to
Oh
discuss
boy.
with you. So it's going to be like a one-of-one shirt. I want your fans to be
Ooh.
able to order it, but first Pop's
Okay.
got to have it, and then
Makes sense.
afterwards maybe we'll see. How's that?
Okay, that sounds good. All right, Scotty, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And yeah, that tailgate's going to be awesome. So, Scotty, just make sure you email me all the particulars, how many people would be coming with you, things of that nature for the Jets game and tailgate and all that jazz. And yeah, we'll make that happen. I'll add you to the sign-up sheet. The sign-up sheet is in the YouTube description down below if you guys would like to sign up. Again, I still don't know details on ticket price or tailgate price yet, but I should know that by the end of the week. I hope so. And I'll be reaching out to all of you. We have 400 plus people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe, excuse me. I'm looking forward to whether or not Pop takes that bet. I hope he does. I hope he does for the brand and just for fun. Hey, 0.0%. He's the one who said it. So. Yo Home says, hey, what time is the Celtics game? I'm not sure when the preseason schedule comes out. So as soon as it comes out, I'll let you know, Yo Homes. Not sure. Not sure who we open up against in the preseason. Or NBA Summer League. Not sure. But as soon as I know that, I'll let you know. Knicks winning it all. People say in the chat, hey, maybe. I'll be rooting for it. I don't know let me see what the odds are. Let's see what the odds are. Let me skip ahead because the first game's on Wednesday. Let's see. The Knicks are a 4.5-point favorite at home. So there you go. Boom. 4.5-point favorite. And they can't obviously have the line yet for Timberwolves yet because we don't know whether the Thunder or Nuggets are moving on. But hey, the Knicks are a 4.5-point favorite at home against the Pacers on Wednesday. I don't know when's the next game. They really normally break all this up, but and we obviously don't have a line for the Friday game yet. So there you go, Knicks fans. There you go. Again, Knicks are a 4.5-point favorite at home against the Pacers. Let me just check this on the Knicks schedule real quick. Just want to take a gander. Not in the postseason, not preseason. I don't give a shit about preseason. Let's go to the regular season here for the Knicks. I wanted to see something here. Let me see. Come on down. Let's go. Indiana. Okay, here we go. So the Knicks played the Pacers 3 times during the regular season, I see here. Okay, they won the first one, 123-98, blew them out by 25 points. Very nice. They then lost to the Pacers by 11 on November 10th. First one was October 25th, second game of the season. And then the third one, they won 128-115. So the Knicks won 2 of the 3 games against the Pacers during the regular season. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean bupkis because the Celtics kicked the Knicks' ass 4 times during the regular season outside of the last one, which was overtime, and won by an average margin of victory of 16 points, like my pop likes to point out. But obviously, that doesn't mean dick because the Celtics got eliminated by the Knicks. So I don't know what we could take from that Knicks-Pacers stuff anyway on the regular season, but there you go. There you have it. Tony the GM says, if you need 5 All-Pros on the line, 3 All-Pros at wide receiver, and an All-Pro tight end and running back, he is not your quarterback. I'm not sure what you're talking about, so I can't understand if you're talking about Fields or not, but we'll see. Again, did the Jets go a little overboard on the offensive line with what was that? Because there was ABT, there's Olu Fashanu, there's Membu, and then Makai. Since 2020, the Jets have invested 4 top 14 picks. That seems a little overkill, but if you're going to overkill anywhere, why not the offensive line? If you're going to be honest. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. The legend Hep graces us with his presence. What's up, Hep?
Hey, Paul, I was curious if the Knicks don't go to the play, what does Scotty have to do?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I'll probably just make him do a bunch of crazy shit at the tailgate. Like he has to go to the tailgate and I'm going to make him jet up. I won't make him do Celtic stuff because here's the thing. The sick pleasure that will be taken will be by me and my dad, not everyone else. Everyone else is going to be like, what's going on? I don't understand what's going on. So to me, it would just have to be like Jet stuff. Like
make wear a Zach Wilson shirt or something?
Yeah, something like that maybe. Or, he has to follow you up after you sing the Boy Green Daily song. We put Scotty up there. We're like, all right, sing us some karaoke, pal, or something. And then he I don't know. It'll be something Jets related though, probably.
It doesn't seem quite even though. It seems like you're getting the short end of the stick here.
You know what? And that's fine. I'm willing to do it. That's what someone said about the Chef Kev bet. Like, Paul, what are you doing that doesn't make any sense whatsoever? I'm like, come on. Why not? Live life a little. So
all right. So anyway, I was curious. No, I'm happy they did looking back at the draft. Member was the correct pick. I mean,
seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, there was nobody left after that. It was just the junk pile was left over for the offensive. So yeah, and no, that worked out well. As far as the game goes, how is it going to work? Are we going to give you like credit cards or how?
Good question. So when I hopefully get that information, so today's a Sunday. So hopefully in less than a week, they give me all the information. Say, Paul, here's how much the game is. Here's how much this is. Now go to town. And I'm going to have to collect everyone's money from that point within like a 3-week period or something, because the Jets are going to give me a date. Say, hey, Paul, where's all the money for the 50 tickets? I'd be like, good Lord. Right. So I'm going to have all that ready. So I'll have a deadline date. Basically, there's a lot of options you guys will be able to do. There's PayPal, there's Venmo, there's Zelly or Zelle, however you pronounce it, what Scotty uses, or we could do like if it helps someone, a bank transfer or something. Like we could do whatever it takes. I'll know whatever the numbers are for all the people, right? The people that have 3 tickets, 4 tickets, 2 tickets, this, that. I'll be able to reach out and say, hey guys, it's going to be this much. And in email, because I see everyone left their contact info. So for every email, I'll reach out and customize it to each person. Hep, here's how much it is for you because you wanted this. Johnny, here's how much it was for you. It was this. And then we can figure out whatever's going to be easiest.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time. Nice time. Early October is nice weather usually.
I think so too. Right. I don't think some people have said, oh man, it's going to be real cold. I don't think it's going to be that cold. No. If it's cold at all, I guess you could wear layers, but I don't think it's going to be that cold early October. What are we talking about here?
Sometimes it can get hot. Actually, you get that Indian sun.
Right. That's what I was more feel for, to be honest. Not like, oh geez, it's a snowstorm coming through. Like, oh God, it's piss warm out here. That was my fear, but I don't know.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks, App. And good questions on this tailgate extravaganza coming up. That's why I say the most important piece to the puzzle, people, is making sure you have a point of contact in the sign-up sheet down below. If you use email, that's great, or a phone number or something or anything. It'd be better to have like a written form that'll be easier to kind of keep track of everything organized and have a paper trail. So an email would be best if you have that. But as soon as I get the information, I'm going to start reaching out to each of you guys. And like I said, I'm just going to go down the list in order and just say, hey, people, here's how much it is. And let's collect. Again, this is for our Boy Green tailgate. This is the first time we're doing this. in this way where I'm going to be running everything. It'll be myself. It'll be James Woody. My pop's going to be there. My whole family's going to be there. My fiance Tatiana is going to be there. You guys will get a chance to meet the kids. PE3, my son. You'll get to meet Zariah Luna. Wow. She'll be there too for the game. I can't wait. It's going to be an awesome experience. It's going to be so freaking cool. Again, by all accounts, it's going to be that October 5th, week 5, New York Jets versus Dallas Cowboys game. Again, if you guys have interest, excuse me, make sure you hit up the Google Doc sheet down below. Also, you guys can email me interest. If you can't access the Google Doc, I've heard a few people have a few problems, but not everyone has had problems, and you have interest, just email me or reach out on any social media, at BoyGreen25. That is Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, literally anything and everything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, anything. And you can reach out and say, hey, Paul, the Google Doc sheet ain't signing up, but here's all my info. First name, last name. I want 4 tickets. This, that. Make sure you guys let me know. And if you're on the list, I will be reaching out to you. Again, a massive shout out to NFL insider Matt Lombardo. Guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed that interview. He's a new part of the family. He'll be joining us every Sunday. You guys can learn more about his Substack, which is between the hash marks in the YouTube description down below, which is awesome. It's great to have another weekly guest. Obviously, we've had Hop on Pop. We've had other recurring guests throughout the show's history, but it'll be kind of cool. So our weekends will be booked for the foreseeable future. Hop on Pop and Matt Lombardo joining us on a week-to-week basis moving forward. It's going to be great. I can't wait. Well, everybody, again, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to take my family out to the diner for our weekly visit. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This was a super fun show, and can't wait for more coming up here on Boy Green Daily. Thanks to you guys. You're the best. Love it and enjoy. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.